Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. This is Tanja again with some things that I just thought would help you if you want to investigate further. First of all, we're going to define train. And when you train up a child, what it's saying is you teach them a particular skill or a type of behavior through practice and instructions over a period of time. Anything that you do it and your child is there, they're watching. They're seeing how you carry yourself. You know how people say, don't do as I say, not as I do? That don't make sense, especially if you're a parent. You want to mimic the behavior that you want them to follow. And so when you say train, dogs get trained to do things that they're supposed to do. They don't get it right all in the beginning, but people get trained in the military. There are different examples of how you get trained, and the reason for that is so that you can follow their lead. And in the military, it's the voice. They want you to be able to not think about what you got to do, but just do it. And that's the same way it is when we're training up our children. Our children will have an ability to make a decision based on the decisions we've made, based on how they see us act. So when we're training them, it's not that, it says when they old, it will not depart from them. They can make all kind of mistakes, and what the training that's in them is going to be in them. It's up to them to make that choice, so you shouldn't feel guilty. However, my whole thing is, if you tell a child, don't gossip, and they see you with your friends, you tell them to go in the room and they hear you in there gossiping, they don't care about what you said. That's what they're going to do. They're going to get with their friends and they're going to do the same thing. Children grow up, and parents, myself included, I used to yell at my kids all the time, but when you know better, you do better. And it was just because I was frustrated. It's no excuse, but I'm just telling you what it was. I was a single parent. See, I did it out of order. There's order in God's world. And if we do it out of order, there are consequences. So because of me being who I was, and unhealed, not whole, whatever word you want to use, I took it out on the children because I feel like they were innocent to a degree where they couldn't come back for me. But you got to remember, whatever you do when they get younger, sometimes those kids do come back for you. You wonder, where'd y'all get this behavior? I didn't train y'all like that. Well, you did. You know, grown folks used to say, get out grown folk business. Well, you shouldn't be in those grown folk business talking about people and, doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. So be careful of what you do around your children as well as what you tell your children, because if they see you doing the opposite, kids have so many different issues. It's so different now, especially with social media. So not only are you yelling at them, you're making them nervous when they go to school. You're yelling at them before they go to bed, whatever. You can talk to them. But parents, we're lazy. A lot of times we don't follow through with what we're telling them. We just tell them to do it, and when they don't do it, we get mad instead of following up as a parent and say, okay, let's get this done. Sometimes we have to go and show them. I know my daughter told me, Mama, you never showed us how to clean up. You just say clean up, and then you just do it at different times. And I didn't think about that. That's a part of training. You want to teach them how to clean and you want it done a certain way. You can't fuss at them about how they clean if you've never shown them. So we have to take accountability for the things that we've done and responsibilities for what we did not do and how these kids turn out. I am so sorry that I didn't do it. And there's no excuse other than just trying to work, which that's my responsibility to do and take care of these kids that I brought into this world. They didn't ask to come. So when we're talking about training, we have to lead by example. And then with social media, they telling these kids they ugly if they don't have this, if they're not looking like this. And then we tell our kids, you're beautiful, or their sons, you're handsome. And then next thing you know, you hear your parents or your mom or whoever talking about somebody and the way they shaved and how they dress and stuff. So even though you told that child that they are beautiful and they're, they're fine just the way they are, if they feel like they look like somebody else and they hear you talking about somebody else and body shaming people, they don't feel good about themselves because they don't believe what you're saying, because you basically lying. You're saying one thing with your mouth to them because that's your child, but then they see you talking just the opposite about somebody else that they might feel like look like them or shaped like them. Parents, we got to do better. We have to do better. Ain't nobody that fine, ain't nobody look that good, ain't nobody that handsome and all that good stuff that you don't have flaws that you feel uncomfortable talking about. So instead of focusing on you and making yourself better and being happy with who you are and being whole, learning to be whole, you're focusing on everybody else and their flaws like you're perfect. Stop it. You got kids that you want to train to do the right thing and to feel great about themselves. So stop yelling at them, making them feel bad and nervous. Show them how to do things. And if that's once a month, you go and show them and do it. I mean, there are things that I used to do, that was a part of the cleaning mechanism, but I just kind of didn't like go and say, okay, this is how you do the bathtub. I saw a little boy on one of these videos. When I say somebody taught him how to clean, he removed everything, put his gloves on, wiped everything, that did what he was supposed to do. That's one of the things that I did not do, and I'm taking responsibility for. Now my children, keep good houses as far as, well, most of them. And so it's one of those things that I look back now, and if you got young kids, you get a chance to change it. Because I can look back all I want to, it's done. My kids are grown. But it's still no excuse. Then also, you talking about one of the things when we compliment our kids, let's teach them to not put value in things. We be the brokest people trying to live and impress other people. They don't care nothing about you. They really don't. They just want to, you competing against other females for the most part, because I can only speak on that. Compete for other females to make them think they got it going on and their hair done. And then you ain't got no money to pay bills. You ain't got no money to buy food, but you got money to go get your hair done, get your nails done, get your feet done. Nigga, I'm sorry, y'all, I had to say that, but stop. Go take care of yourself. Prioritize what's important, which is your bills, making sure you got a roof over your head, you got lights on so your food don't go bad, then you have food that you kids can go in there and eat. And I'm not saying you got to buy steak and all this fancy stuff, but you got to have the basic things and spend time with your kids. Stop trying to, I know some of y'all hurting, you're going through stuff, go to therapy. It's a lot of therapists out there. Not everyone is good, but most of them that I've encountered are good. And so for that reason, find one that works for you. If you don't like the first one, go to the next one. But take care of you. Get yourself whole. Heal from whatever's bothering you so you don't take it out on those children. They didn't ask for this. My son used to tell me, and a couple of years ago was the last time I think he said it, but that I yelled a lot. And I did, and I am so sorry that I did. I mean, I can't change it. And we tell the kids to just get over it. Some things affect kids a little more than other kids. Thank God they're all adults and they're on their own and they're paying their own bills, they're doing their own thing. And I'm proud of all of my children, as I should be. But one of the things my daughters told me is that, Mama, we saw your work ethic. We get out there and we get it done. And that's one thing I can say I'm proud of, because I made sure that in spite of my mistakes, I saw my parents take us on vacation every summer. So I decided I'm going to make sure that they have the same thing with or without a husband. So I am proud of that. And I'm proud of them for making the decisions to pay their bills and to do the things that they're supposed to do. And they're productive citizens in this world. And I thank God for that. However, could I have done things better? Absolutely, we all can. But why you got a chance and you're trying to train that child, if that child goes astray, just like the prodigal son, he had the best of any world. But sometimes people try to show you stuff, or you see a little glimpse of something and you think you need that. You don't. You don't. And one of the things I laugh about is, every time I go on vacation, I gotta buy a whole new set of clothes. Like, those people done see me, and if they have, so what? It's clean. Just put it on and look cute like he was looking cute the last time. We take away from being who we're supposed to be and having things in case of an emergency. And it's kind of hard because they tell you to have 6 months of reserve. So if something goes bad, you got money to go take care of whatever happens. That's the way you should be living. But some of us broke, traveling, buying clothes, getting our hair done, getting our nails done, I said after this trip, I'm gonna stop, get my nails done and my feet done. I'm gonna try to do it myself, y'all. I'm going for it because I'm on a mission. I got some things that I need to take care of, and I'm gonna do that. My kids are grown, so that's not an issue. But back to training up a child. My kids make sure their bills are paid, but what kind of spending habits do they have? They pretty much, except for my son. My daughters, every time something happens, they got to go buy a new wardrobe pretty much to go on vacation or go on a trip. They got to get their hair done, their nails done. And there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself, as we should. And that's going to be a whole nother topic, ladies. But we do that a lot. And like I said, for what? I mean, if you got it like that, I'm not knocking you. And if you got that reserve for the emergencies, that's cool. I have some, but I should have more. And so I want to make sure that I'm telling you how to take care and train your children so that they learn how to save. They learn how to pay their bills on time. I know some people that just going from apartment to apartment because they keep getting kicked out because they spending their money, they're not making bills a priority. And then they got to figure out how to go stay with somebody else and make do because they're trying to look good for somebody that don't care nothing about you. We need to make sure that we're taking care of our kids and we're training them to be responsible adults, healthy adults, whole adults. And if there's something they need to say to you, please listen. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Stop yelling, start listening so you can help them navigate through life, especially at the young, tender age where they're very, very influenceable. So they can be influenced by what you say and what you do as long as those 2 things match. We got to take care of our kids and love them. Society is not, they don't care nothing about our children. It's us that have to do that. And that means if they make bad choices, we don't come down on them because we've all made those bad choices. What we do is remember to give them the benefit of the doubt, tell them how they can change behavior and how they can live and move on. That's not the end of the world because everybody's made a mistake. Learn how to listen, learn how to talk, learn how to encourage these young adults because even though they're babies when they come out, those are young adults that you are training to be productive in society as young adults. And that's going to stick with them. You wonder why, like, people have a sense of entitlement. There are some things that, we didn't have. Some of us, I ain't going to say all of us, and then so because you didn't have it, you think you got to give your kids everything and they don't appreciate it. And so they have a sense of entitlement. And when somebody else tells them, no, it's the end of the world, that's how they go out there and drink a lot. That's how they do drugs. That's how they do a lot of different things. And it's not a bad thing to want to give your children the better things or the finer things in life, but not at the detriment of losing them and causing them to be able to think for themselves. We need to bring critical thinking back into our household so that if something's going wrong, we don't always have to give them the answer. We don't always have to be ashamed of what's going on in our household. My kids, I didn't let them go anywhere because I worked in law enforcement and, I was afraid of what people would do. So you are right. I did protect them to a degree, but I did let them go other places. I didn't just lock them in the house and they couldn't go nowhere. They went some places, but not the place they want to go to, especially spending night at other people's houses because you don't know what's going on in that house. But remember, these kids have to learn to think. I used to try to, if somebody asked them a question, I would try to answer for them so they wouldn't say nothing I didn't want them to say. I wasn't doing nothing wrong. I was doing stuff wrong, but not major, nothing that I felt like they knew. Um, and I know that sounded a little terrible, but it wasn't, they didn't hear me gossiping. Because I think when you're doing that, you need to stop gossiping and then start praying for that person. That's what you need to do so kids will understand that from a spiritual standpoint, that's the better way to go about it, because God can handle things we never could. So for that reason, train these children to do the right thing in life. Stop cussing people out and then going to church praising God 1 minute and then, so these kids learn to cuss people out and keep it going. The Bible tells us the road is wide that leads to destruction. It's a narrow road that leads to the Lord. And everybody wants to be okay because they're thinking everybody else is doing it, and they're claiming, they're quoting scriptures, they're using God's name and saying good things about God. Well, that God is a good God regardless of what you say about him. He's a good God all day, every day, any day. However, he wants to know, and people say, oh, God knows my heart. When people say that, they know what they're doing is wrong. So they excuse themselves ahead of time and they go ahead and do it. No. God's going to hold you accountable for all of your actions. Stop making excuses because everybody else is doing it. All y'all going to be down there thinking y'all going to have a party in hell. It ain't going to be no party. It's going to be a burnt sacrifice that you did on your own. You're going to be that sacrifice. At what expense? At somebody else's expense? No, we answer to God for ourselves. So make sure when you live in this life, you live in a life that's pleasing to the Lord, making decisions that's pleasing to the Lord, making decisions that you'll be proud for your children to follow. And then make sure we take time to spend with those kids while they're young, because when they're older, they don't have a lot of time for you. I thank God that my children do call and talk and make time. But with all of that being said, it was my responsibility to impart to them the way life should be, how they should live it. And for that reason, I can say I'm proud, in spite of all my mistakes, I'm proud to be their mother. And I'm proud of the adults that they are right now. I'm encouraging each and every one of you to make sure if you have children that you encourage them, that you stay on top of them as far as discipline. I know the Bible says spare the rod, spoil the child. You don't have to beat a child down. If you talk to them and you stay on them about the things they're doing or not doing, children know how to go in the right direction. You might have to pop them on the head when they're young. But what they do when they're young and you think is cute because they're young, it's going to come back to bite you when they're older. So start now training them. So when they get older, you don't have to worry about them being out of line, getting a phone call saying XYZ. That's just my 2 cents for change. And because the Bible tells me so, I use the scripture from the Bible. So that's the Bible that I'm talking about, that scripture training up. I just broke it down from my standpoint, my experiences. That's why I told you I made certain mistakes. I'm okay with doing that because I am healed, I am whole, and I know I can take responsibility for my actions because I'm not perfect and neither are you. But I tell you what, I love my children. I do whatever I can to make sure they get steered in the right direction. They're older. My youngest will be 29 this year. But at the same time, I still got a responsibility to impart wisdom to them as much as I can. Until next time, be blessed.